Right.
No.
Well, this is something that I learned early on this was before the days of the signature, but when I went back out to sell, I just incorporated it really easily in terms of showing the complete set. While it made things really simple for the customer because they were able to see the complete set at the same time as the homemaker set. So when you were done showing the homemaker, you had pretty much explained everything except for the cheese knife and the salmon knife. That's it. And then we went to the other side. So it really added an extra, I don't know, minute and a half to your
just like killing every name and use all the way up
through your names and uses. It literally added a minute and a half to your names and uses when we did this because you already talked about everything. It was just simple add-ins. So in your, where's the fold out? This is a brand new book and I don't see the little fold out. I need do you have yours? Can I have yours? So what you do, so we start off in the beginning, right? So first you can just write this down somewhere so you have it, and then I'll do it live. All right, but we're going through the basic homemaker.
Give just a piece of paper. I lost my pad of paper.
Pad of paper.
Well, there's something. All right, I got it.
Okay. All right, I kind of knew what was just happening, but all right. So when we talk about the paring knife, you're gonna mention, the complete has a larger version. All right, so you talk about the 4-inch paring knife, and you're just like, oh, and that's great for just larger paring jobs, quartering. Like my mom had like bigger mangoes or avocados or quartering, and so that makes it really nice to have the larger version of it. When you talk about the trimmer, I'll mention the complete set also has a specialty. So everything that I say is a complete set also has. So the trimmer, we're going to say there's a specialty tool called the boning knife that's made for deskinning and deboning, whatever, deskinning and deboning.
Okay.
All right.
So you're talking about just adding a couple of.
Right, and I'll show you. So when I talk about the spatula, it's normal. Petite carver, it's normal. Turning fork's normal. When we talk about the butcher, all right, we tell them, oh, this is the heavy duty of the basic set. Now the complete has the 2 other versions as well. So I say we have 3 heavy duty knives, right? So there's this one, which is for your basic heavy duty, melons, separating frozen hot dogs, hamburgers, like, chicken, duck, ribs, things like that, nothing crazy, heavy duty. We have Papa version of that, which is our cleaver, and our cleaver is a 1.2 pound knife. And this guy right here, I mean, if you do a lot of hunting, then for pounding and tenderizing meats, coconuts, it's much more hardcore. And then we have the Hardy Slicer. So this one comes in the medium and the complete set. And the Hardy Slicer, instead of taking that and like whacking at something, it's for, let's say you're cutting root vegetables or something like tough. It's like those guys at the gym that are like on steroids, and they're just like, is our Hardy Slicer, and you just muscle through things with it. So you don't whack at anything, because when you're whacking, it's not controlled. Maybe you want things a certain size, you're wanting to make something, and so it's really nice because you can just kind of push through, muscle through. It's kind of like the Mama cleaver, so Big Papa 1.2 pounds for heavy, and then for the moms, they can just use that to kind of muscle through tougher jobs, thinner frozen meats. Like I had a lady who was like, "Will this work on my frozen rabbit?" I was like, you want to try it? And she's like, if I could try it. She went to her freezer and had a frozen rabbit. Yeah, her husband hunted a lot and took the Hardy Slicer and cut right through. And she's like, this is amazing. I was like, so this is controlled, controlled cutting, like heavy duty cutting.
I like what you said, Mama and Papa. That's good.
Yeah, so this is Big Papa. This is Mama. So those are tougher. So you have the butcher. Then when you talk about the chef knife, same thing. Excuse me, so there's 3 versions of this. So the complete has all 3 versions. Chef, we have 3 chopping knives as well. So when you get to the chopping, you're like, this is your traditional chef knife, dicing and chopping vegetables, you go through that. So there's actually 3 versions. We have 3 versions of chopping knives. Complete has all 3. You have your traditional French that I was just telling you about. Then there's one with a wider blade called the vegetable knife. That one's really nice for when you're transferring. All right, so when you're transferring foods over, it has a wider blade. So you see, like, the chef's doing a lot of, like, if you're doing a lot of stir fry or stuff for omelets, and then you can just, like, put it on there and toss it into the pan. And then it also has a santoku. This is known as Rachel Ray's knife. And this is more, I think we call it the celebrity knife. But it's nice for sushi, like Oriental type cooking, because you can, like, chop with it, and it has a little bit at the end. And I'll show you the picture where you can kind of fillet with it. So it's nice for sushi because you can fix that. So a lot of people that do alternative style cooking really love that. And it's just nice to have another chopping knife in the house. Like when you have a bigger family, like you chop this, you chop this. We use all of them in Thanksgiving at my house.
Do you ever say, like, for the santoku, like, I don't know. The only thing I never know, like, to say about it, like, that's good. I probably should add some more, but I always talk about, like, the upward thing, how, like, the top it always, like, doesn't stay as sharp on, like, a French chef knife, and I show the curve. I'm like, oh, with the santoku, you can't do that. Like, you have to keep it straight across.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that?
And you can, like, chop with it, and you can, like, you just use it differently because you can also go.
Is that
like,
fine for him?
Yeah, I would say I'll just mention also, like, it's a lot of alternative style cooking. Like, they like to use that tool because of how they cut. And, like, some people, they do want to chop and they want to go. Tss. The chef is not made for that. Where that's an even patio, so you can do the whacking type chopping where they go. Tss.
Okay.
Like that, you can use that the santoku to do that. All right. Then when you talk about the slicer, you mentioned the complete set also has a smaller version. I'm like, this is really nice for when you're, like, at the table, so you're not, like, passing a sword around, you know? So that one's really good. And then lastly, you have your master carving set, right? So we finished going through the homemaker, and you basically showed all those things. And then you talk about, the table knife, and you say, so our medium set, by the way, for our 2 larger sets, for those who like the feel of larger steak knife, our 2 larger sets have the option of either the table knives or the steak knives, which I definitely recommend those here in Texas. So our medium set, it has the scissors that I told you about. It has the either, instead of 8, it has 10 table knives or 10 steak knives. It has our cheese knife. This thing's ridiculous. It has holes in it. It doesn't stick to the block. You get nice thin slices. You've got micro double D edge. So basically for every 1 double D edge, there's 2 of them. Then it has the, so this right here is a smaller version of the santoku. So this is in the chopping family. Instead of the full out version, it's a shorter, it's just about this big right here. And it's made for, like, intricate mincing and dicing and chopping. So when you're doing more like herbs, garlic, I use it for fresh garlic, I use it for ginger, I use it for parsley, I use it for just any small herbs that I want to chop up. So you're using this one to, like, cut the onions and the veggies, or you're using this for, like, small herbs. And then lastly, it has the other heavy duty. So it has the one for controlled cutting, the Hardy slicer. So that's in the heavy duty family.
So you were talking about the largers, or you're talking about when you had the petite santoku, what was your other one?
Chef. It's in the chopping family.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I'll do it for you live. And then I'm like, so then the complete set, like I said, has the basic tools. Those are the other 2 chopping knives I told you about. That's the Big Papa that I told you about. This is, I haven't told you about this one, I'll tell you in a second. This is the shorter bread knife. This is the boning knife for specialty deboning, deskinning, the cheese knife, and then that larger paring knife. Cool? So instead of 10, now here you get 12 steak knives with 12 table knives and the scissors. So this is the only one I didn't tell you about was the salmon knife. This one right here, one of the sharpest knives we have. It's really, really flexible, and it's made for, like, paper thin fillets. So if you're doing carpaccios, even if you're cutting stuff up and you want, like, thin meats for, like, sushi or sashimi, carpaccio. When you go
to you know.
That's like when I was brand new. One of the names and uses for I think it was for the bread. It's like, this is great for brisket. I would say, and I'm brisket. Like I grew up always like never like my first summer.
Brisket's big. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
my first summer I'd be like, yeah, it's great for brisket. You know, I remember one lady telling me, but okay, brisket. I'm like, I don't know. So carpaccios are when you can do them with fish, you can do them with meat, but it's when you like paper thin slice it and you put it on the plate and they'll make a salad on top of it. Have you ever seen that before? So it's just like I've seen beef carpaccio, tuna carpaccio, whatever, but it's literally paper thin, like it's just like almost like glued onto the plate. Paper thin slices is so yummy. So you're not like chewing on a piece of tuna. It's like it's like very thin. It's almost like when you have a Parmesan cheese. It's like really thin slices, but it's like meat on the bottom of the plate. So it's
great.
It's really nice. And prosciutto. Do you know what prosciutto is? It's good for prosciutto. And you can cut your own. Not a lot of people do that here, but if you have like thin pieces and you do that with like melons or cheeses, you know, like that's cooking. So I'm like, yeah, so this is awesome. You can fillet fish with it as well. And by the way, this is also really nice. Let's say you're doing Philly cheesesteaks or chicken cheesesteaks. You can fillet the chicken or the steak really thin, and it's fantastic. So those are all the tools. So if you're considering a set, do you think you'd want the complete set so you have everything you ever need? The medium set where you have most of the tools, which is nice if you like to cook or do basic entertaining or just basic cutting tools, you know, and finding, you know, that I'm like, all right, cool. And then we keep going. All right. So let me walk through. So those are the add-ons there. All right. So I want to do it once live, and then I want to see, have any of you guys done this before? I know I taught this at an Olean, and I know that like Chavez, like he had learned it. I don't know if you ever incorporated it, but it's such an easy way to show everything at one shot. Okay. So again, it doesn't add much time to your demo. It's just a couple extra seconds on each tool. All right. So I'm walking through and I say, all right, so Ms. Jones Coco has everything for the kitchen. We've got knives, we've got pots and pans, we've got our flatware, we've got a bunch of different indoor and outdoor accessories. All right, I'm gonna start with the knives first. That's people's usually first investment. And then I'll show you everything else, just because if you do see something that you might like for the future, there's amazing like bundles and packages and things that are available. Cool. So this right here, Cutco has 3 family sets. We have a complete set that is for people that love to cook, love to entertain, have big families, or just love to have the best. And again, I always tie that into them. If there's someone with a gorgeous house, or I know they love to have the best, I'm like, hey, it's for people that love to cook, love to entertain, have big families, or obviously like you love to have the best. You know, if they have a big family, I'm like, hey, this is for people who love to cook, love to entertain, have big families like you guys, or just love to have the best. So anytime you can really, and they go, oh yeah, that's me. You know, like, oh yeah, I love to cook. Oh yeah, I love to entertain. And I usually know that from their friends or from talking to them before. And even in the beginning, when you said, do you love to cook? Do you like it? And they're like, I love to cook. I'm like, all right, you know, like, so I'm going to connect them with that complete set. So we have that. We have one that's in between people that like to cook or do basic entertaining, which is a very nice set. And then our basic tools. I mean, this set's been around since 1949. It was designed to handle all your basic cutting needs in the kitchen. My grandmother's actually had that one since 1957. So let me walk you through real quick. So the basic tools, so 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula. First tool in your basics, that's your air knife. So your paring knife, did you guys ever cut me the air? And you talk about that, and I'm like, all right, cool. So once you finish explaining however you do the paring, I'm like, by the way, the complete set also has a larger version. It's a 4-inch, which is really nice when you have larger fruits and veggies, bigger mangoes, bigger, you know, apples. My mom, that knife and the boning are like 2 of her favorites. The next one, your basic set, is your small utility trimmer. All right, so you're not going to use the paring knife on the board. That's why you have the trimmer. So that's protected for slicing, for back and forth motion. Anytime you see the double D edge, you know it's supposed to be back and forth. All right, if it's a straight edge, you're not supposed to do that. It's made for something else. So this right here, think about this size, because you always want to use a knife that's a little bit larger than what you're cutting. So limes, lemons, oranges, grapefruits, star fruits, trimming fat off meats, deboning, deskinning. Now, by the way, the complete set does have a specialty version called the boning knife, and that's made for deboning, deskinning. It is a straight edge. It's used sideways. So like with skirt steaks, I mean, that's very fatty. It's fantastic. You can like lift. Lift the fat off any meats that you're trying to lift it, and it's literally like butter. Like in Miami, we eat a lot of churrasco, which is skirt steak, and it's like super fatty. And so you literally pick it up, and it glides through like butter. It's great for butterflying meats that you're stuffing. It's great for getting close to the bone. So it's really nice. Next one, your basic sets your spatula, and you go through spatula normal, go through petite carver normal, go through turning fork normal, and then when I get to the butcher, I'm like, now, The next one, your basic set, is your butcher. Now, this is your heavy duty of your basic sets, your protector of your basic set, okay? Now, this would be for ribs. This would be for separating frozen hot dogs, hamburgers. This is my mom buys a bag of chicken wings at Costco. Instead of taking the whole thing out and defrosting it, boom, separate what you need, put the rest back in there. You can use it for like melons, things like that. Now, the complete set we have 3 versions of heavy duty knives, by the way. This is your basic. Like, you're not gonna whack at frozen food with one of the other ones, all right? So this right here, it's light, but it's made to whack at things. Now, our complete set has Big Papa, all right, version of that, which is a 1.2 pound knife. It's called our cleaver. If you do a lot of hunting, if you have like, it's great for you can use a side for pounding and tenderizing meats. And then also it's fantastic for coconuts. But anything like real heavy duty, like that's your guy. All right, that's what it's made for. And then we have like the mom version. It's called the Hardy Slicer. That comes in both the medium and complete. One of my favorite tools. And instead of whacking with it, it's made for controlled cutting. It's like those tough guys at the gym that are like on steroids. So you just kind of muscle through things. So it's nice if you have root vegetables, you know, like root vegetables are really tough to cut, by the way, and like different squash and pumpkin, instead of just whacking it and it goes, how about if you want a certain size, the Hardy Slicer, it's for hearty slicing. It's really nice to push through. Also, if you have like, let's say like a big pepperoni log or a big cheese block, and instead of thin slices, you just want like cubes, right? For like a party, instead of buying a pre-made party platter, you can go to Costco, get a pepperoni log, get a cheese block. My parents would do this all the time, and it's so fast. People won't do it because it's a pain in the butt, but you literally just push through, turn to the side, push through, turn here, push through, it like goes right through. Same thing with a cheese block. So you get a lot more for your money, and you save a lot that way. So like the set really pays for itself. Next one, your basic set is your chopper. So these are to whack. You're not going to do that with this. This is for your dicing and chopping. So you explain your chef knife, however you explain your chopping knife. And I'm like, so the complete has all 3 versions. So we have our traditional French chef. Then we have a vegetable knife. And that one is just, it's a wider blade all across, which is nice when you're transferring foods. And then we have the Santoku, which is Japanese style knife. It's great for alternative style cooking. It's rounded at the end, and you can play with it. You can also like chop with it versus the rocking motion, just chop like that. So if you're doing like chopped salad or whatever, they're used to using it like that. So really for people who are more specialty type cooks, like that's Rachel Ray's like favorite knife. She like popularized it in 2010. They like to have it. Or if you just have a big family, I mean, we just all chop. My dad's like, he loves the vegetable knife, so he uses that one. I love the French chef. My sister uses the other one, but they're all in a chopping family. So if you like specialized cooking, it's nice to have the specific tool, or if you just have a big family or people that are a lot of people helping entertaining, you just kind of pass it around and you're getting everything done.
Do you bring it out?
Not unless they ask for it. I just show the chef.
But if you have, okay.
I only show a couple main tools, and then anything else they want to see, I'll bring it out.
So I had this question asked earlier. So if they like did the ultimate set, but they want to replace all the regular ones for Santoku that we have,
with the complete, it does
block?
fit. So the signature you can get Santoku style signature, but I don't know why they haven't done a complete set signature. So you'd actually have to piece out the whole freaking thing, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt.
It's a good.
It'll be more.
They'll raise the price.
It's gonna be a lot more. Yeah, they've got to be okay with paying more. As long as they're okay with paying more, it's cool.
Because I had a guy ask about that earlier, not yesterday, but he said he liked the signature, but he won't I had to call Ray Lou. He just wouldn't do it.
Got it. So then last thing, so I'm like, so then you have your bread knife. Let me finish this real quick. So you've got your bread knife, this right here, longer bread knife, Our complete also is a shorter version, which is really nice when you're at the table, you're entertaining, and you have like breads or cakes, you don't want to pass around a sword around the table. And then you have your master carving set, all right? And this for your turkeys, la, la, la. You talk about the table knives. And then I say, and our 2, by the way, for those who like to feel of a larger steak knife, this right here, you can replace the table knives with steak knives. They don't fit in the block, but the 2 larger sets, they do fit in the block. So this right here is our medium set. This is the signature family set, comes with the scissors that you loved. Instead of 8, it has 10 table knives or 10 of the steak knives. Brings our cheese knife. This thing is ridiculous. You talk about the cheese knife. Then you have the petit sensoku. So this is in the chopping family. This is a much smaller version. So this right here is for your, all your veggies and everything chopping. And this guy's the blade is just about this long. It's made for intricate mincing, more for herbs, garlic, ginger, just anything like very small that you're dicing and chopping. And then you have the last one is the Hardy Slicer, which I was telling you that's in the heavy duty family. So there's this one, there's Big Papa, that's 1.2, and this is the Mama knife. So that's the Hardy Slicer for gliding through there. So that's basically all the tools. The only thing I haven't covered, the complete set these are the other chopping knives I told you about. This is the 1.2 pound knife. There's a shorter bread. This is the boning knife. There's a cheese knife. That's the smaller, is the salmon knife. So this right here is not just for salmon, by the way. It's fantastic for meats if you wanted to use it on like prosciutto, or even if you're doing Philly cheesesteaks or chicken cheesesteaks, you can fillet the meat super, super thin. But for carpaccios, if you're doing like thin fish or thin meats for the plate and do a salad on it, or just filleting meats, it's really flexible. You can fillet our leather with it, by the way. That's what I would learn to do when I was a rep. So I'd like fillet the leather for the customer. It's pretty nuts. But anyway, so it has all your basic and all your specialty. Cool. So if you guys were considering a set for your family, long-term, what do you feel would be best? Complete set, so you have everything you ever need. The medium set where you have most of the tools, or just the basic cutting tools. Okay, great. And then real quick, last thing. So we have this flatware, and then I like go through everything else real quick, so you can see everything else we have. And then we'll roll. We'll roll from there. All right.
What'd you say for the signature just then for your clothes? Everything you'll ever need for the complete basic cutting tools.
The medium set where you have most of the tools, or just the basic cutting tools. Basic cutting tools is for the homemaker.
Okay.
So complete set, you'll have everything you ever need. The medium set where you have most of the tools, or just the basic cutting tools.
Okay.
Cool.
Tools.
Alrighty, let's do it. So have you done this before? Names and uses. Oh, it's time. All right, let's do it. I want to role play through this. So I want you guys to role play through. You can do it with Will. You can do it to me right now, and you guys will do it together, and then we'll roll from there.
Butcher. Chef.